So I've always been interested in the secret side of Assassin's Creed, whether that be the areas, quests or just hidden things in general. There's something about discovering a secret in a video game that just fills me with excitement. Assassin's Creed is no exception. The developers often hide things in these games for us to find, which is why in this video, I will go over hidden secrets that you may not know about in Assassin's Creed. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. There's one particular Easter egg, or rather hidden secret throughout Assassin's Creed that quite a lot of people don't actually know, and that revolves around the mysterious case of the Headless Horseman, a man who once lost his head and to this day still searches for it. This story is often portrayed in many folklore, such as German, American, Irish and Scottish folklore. There's even many movies, TV shows, comics and even video games that mention this ghostly figure, like Skyrim, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. There's just so many nods and references to the Headless Horseman throughout any form of media. But did you know he makes an appearance in Assassin's Creed Rogue and Assassin's Creed 3? Let's start with Assassin's Creed Rogue. So to start this secret encounter, we need to first head to the River Valley region of the map, and then from here, head to Sleepy Hollow. Now what's interesting about the name Sleepy Hollow is that it's actually the location in American folklore where the Headless Horseman was supposedly buried, from which he rises as a malevolent ghost, furiously seeking his lost head and wielding a jack-o'-lantern as a temporary replacement. So once we arrive in Sleepy Hollow and make our way to this rather unusual looking cemetery next to this pumpkin that's on top of this headstone, from here make sure that it's nighttime, otherwise the Headless Horseman will not appear. After waiting a little bit in the cemetery, you'll notice some sort of mysterious mist or fog will start to plunge over the area, which is an indication that the Headless Horseman is nearby. Then suddenly he will make an appearance, where he will start to attack you. I remember encountering this for the first time when I was just a kid, and I was both confused and rather creeped out, because it just came out of nowhere. I did not even intend to start this Easter egg. The interesting thing is that you cannot actually kill the Headless Horseman with your sword or even your firearm. In fact, there's only two ways to actually kill him for good. The first being to shoot the pumpkin that's situated on top of the headstone. This is of course a nod to the jack-o'-lantern correlating to his head, because that's why he uses as a replacement in the tales. Anyway, that's just one way to permanently kill him. The other way is to hang him from either a tree, a lamppost or just anything from above. This method is a lot harder and requires you to first knock him out, but it can be done. It's also a rather strange method, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure it's physically impossible to hang somebody that does not have a neck. I believe this method was purely an error on Ubisoft's side. I'm pretty sure the intention was not to allow us to kill the Headless Horseman by hanging him, so good job Ubisoft. Now for the Headless Horseman in Assassin's Creed 3. So throughout the frontier setting of Assassin's Creed 3, there's people telling stories near campfires, known as the frontiersmen. I believe you need to have completed 2 or maybe 3 previous missions for them to unlock the Headless Horseman mission. Anyway, once you do, head to this location on the map, and from here you'll experience a story told by them of a man that was once a soldier that had got his head blown off by a cannonball, but supposedly did not die, even though his fellow comrades carried his lifeless body away, and ever since he lost his head, he'd often ride around on his horse searching for it. The man telling the story also mentions that he'd often go and kill innocent people by decapitating them and wearing a pumpkin for a replacement head. It's some pretty disturbing stuff for a story, not gonna lie. Anyway, the game gives us the mission to investigate and look into the Headless Horseman. We need to go to this location, which is quite close to where they told the story. And once we arrive, we can find multiple dead bodies all missing their heads, which is a clear indication of the Headless Horseman. If you analyze any of the bodies, it'll reveal a pretty mysterious scene where it showcases a man riding by with a pumpkin for a head, laughing pretty disturbingly before then disappearing back to where he rode from. From here, that's where this mission ends, which to me is rather odd, because I wonder why Ubisoft did not let us continue this questline and resolve it. I say this because in the data entry for this mission, Connor mentions how the Headless Horseman is not a myth, but rather an actual person. If this is the case, then that makes him a serial killer. I'd have loved to see more of this, but sadly I guess not. Maybe Ubisoft just wanted to leave this a mystery, and keep the whole suspense of a man with a pumpkin for a head roaming the world of Assassin's Creed 3. Who knows what happened after he disappeared? Perhaps he could have killed a lot more innocent people. Imagine if back then Ubisoft released a DLC primarily focusing on the killings of the Headless Horseman. This would have been very cool. In fact, we got something similar to this in Assassin's Creed Syndicate with the Jack the Ripper DLC, which is based on an actual serial killer throughout London in 1888. So I figured if Ubisoft could tell the story of that, maybe they could have found a way to tell the story of the Headless Horseman through a DLC. Am I reaching? Maybe, maybe not. What do you guys think about it? Leave it in the comments below. It appears that the majority of a game's hidden secrets and Easter eggs are typically uncovered shortly after its release, but Assassin's Creed Unity breaks that pattern. Interestingly, it took a whole 2 years for this secret to finally be uncovered, and it revolves around the enigma surrounding the pink frosted cakes throughout the game. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, in Assassin's Creed Unity there are 5 pink cakes hidden across Paris. Ubisoft had teased that discovering all of these cakes would lead to an extraordinary surprise, and that surprise comes in the form of a secret boss fight. So, the location of the 4 cakes before the big cake is at these locations, and once you manage to find all 4 small cakes, head over to this location in the courtyard of the Palais de Luxembourg. In this courtyard you'll notice there's a big cake and a certain man standing on top of it. Once you interact with the cake, the man will jump down, and that's when the fight happens. He has a lot of health, so it can be a rather long fight. Now interestingly, the man on top of the cake is actually Marquis de Bouillon, who was an assassination target in the gameplay demo mission back in 2014 at E3, which unfortunately got removed from the game. Once you've taken him down, you can loot him, and he'll have 50,000 francs on his body. Oh, and fireworks will start to go off and you'll receive an achievement. It's pretty cool that this secret took a while for it to get discovered. It just makes you wonder how many other secrets and Easter eggs are undiscovered in other games. Many people are well aware that the worlds of Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs are connected. In the actual Watch Dogs games, there's even Abstergo employees and documents that feature the name Bloom Corporation. While in Assassin's Creed Origins, there's one particular Easter egg that has completed the connection between these two universes. So, do you remember this guy from Assassin's Creed Black Flag? That's Olivier Garnou, the Chief Creative Officer of Abstergo Entertainment. We know that Garnou plays a very important role in the modern day part of the game, and then later goes to Chicago, which if you don't know is actually the setting where Watch Dogs 1 takes place. And then after that we don't really see him again. That is until a certain mission in Watch Dogs 1 called Requisat Impasse involved Aiden Pierce targeting Olivier Garnou. Before, Ubisoft did not consider this incident as part of official canon. The narrative director at Ubisoft Montreal, Darby McDevitt, referred to it as just a little joke on Twitter, and then in the later games, Ubisoft tried to create uncertainty regarding the crossover by suggesting that Garnou had just simply disappeared. That was until Assassin's Creed Origins was released. When exploring the modern day section of Assassin's Creed Origins and browsing through the laptop, you'll come across this shown on screen. It reveals various files about former Abstergo employees, and interestingly, there's supposed security camera footage capturing Garnou's demise. Now here's the crazy part, and that's to do with the identity of the shooter. It turns out to be none other than you, if you played Watch Dogs, or to be precise, Aiden Pierce. So there you have it. Those are some hidden secrets that you may not have known about in Assassin's Creed. If you did know these, then comment them below saying you did. There's so many other secrets in hidden areas just waiting to be explored in Assassin's Creed. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, just simply hit that subscribe button. Oh, and leave a like too, it'll let me know if you enjoyed this style of video. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one.